exactly. And what an event to win, to put on your resume the largest regional championship ever in Pokemon.
Absolutely, it would be a great accomplishment, but before you can win the tournament, you have to make these single elimination rounds. You see both of our players, that's Aaron there, re-sleeving their decks, just kind of getting ready to play on camera, but we do know their decks. Let's talk a little bit about that, Jeremy.
Well, we should probably wait until our headsets are on, right?
I don't think they can hear us.
All right, well, Aaron is playing the Decidueye Zoroark deck, made popularized by Igor Costa, and then Ben, he's actually playing Zoroark Golisopod. It's a thing that ended up taking the format by storm at the European Internationals. Tord Reklev won the whole event with this deck, and it's even been popularized as Tordpod.
The Tord deck, the Tord engine, you'll hear a lot.
So with Benjamin from Norway, it kind of makes sense that he's doing so well with this deck.
Sure. Yeah, that's so. Zoroark Golisopod going into this event was the biggest Zoroark deck. Like you said, it won the International in London. It was, I think, basically on everyone's radar. It's won lots of League Cups since then. It's just kind of been one of the main decks in the format. But the Zoroark Decidueye deck was a little bit more low-key than that. It wasn't, it's not new. It didn't break out at this tournament or anything, but it definitely wasn't as popular as the Golisopod version.
Yeah, exactly. And we talk about all, like, the basically big deck coming from here is the Lycanroc-Zoroark deck. These two decks are nothing to shout at either. Like, these can hold their own very well against the metagame right now. And it's really all thanks to Zoroark-GX and its tradability.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking about it all weekend. It's really been the story of the weekend is the power of Zoroark-GX. Obviously, when the card was printed, people knew it would be good, but I certainly didn't expect it to have as such a dominant performance as it's had so far. I expected there to be more Gardevoir. I expected people to kind of lean on Gardevoir a little bit and play some other decks. I obviously expected there to be some Zoroark, expected there to be lots of Zoroark, but not like it was, and not all the different variants at such high levels of success, and to an extent kind of keeping all of the Gardevoir away.
Yeah, exactly. We saw our first Gardevoir on stream for the weekend. That was last round and ended up losing to Pablo. And we kind of saw some of the inconsistencies that it tends to have where you are a stage 2 deck, you do need some rare candies to get going, and you're a little bit slower, and that's what decks like these kind of capitalize on. So with Benjamin, his deck, it's a lot faster than the Decidueye Zoroark deck that Aaron's playing.
Yeah, Aaron is relying on having that stage 2 in Decidueye get set up, and there are no kind of tricks. There's no anything like Forest of Giant Plants or water duplicates or anything like that for Decidueye. Aaron just has to do it like our ancestors did with rare candies and evolving stage 1 to stage 2. So much slower than the kind of explosive Golisopod Zoroark starts that Benjamin can have.
Your ancestors used rare candies?
No, they definitely did. But they used the rare candies before it got eroded, so they could just do it immediately.
Oh,
so it's actually even
better,
worse. Yeah, the technology's gotten worse.
But yeah, this is actually a matchup we haven't seen yet this weekend either. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And really, this deck is a lot like the deck that Igor played earlier on in the weekend. I think it's one card different. And so we already kind of saw that and how explosive that can be with the 4 Zoroarks. I think he only plays 3.
Yeah, I think Igor is actually playing for top 8 as well, or he's close at least. He was one of the higher tables. Don't quite remember how many match points he had. So it's possible we could get 2 copies of the Decidueye deck, which I think was maybe one of the more underrated one of the more underrated Zoroark decks at least.
Well, for you, you were like, format. It's your favorite Zoroark
deck. I
so.
love it, but not everyone has the sick reads like I do.
I mean, that's why you're here, right? You get to tell everything.
Precisely. All right, so it looks like players are just getting set up here after some re-sleeving. A lot on the line here.
Make sure to tweet out #PlayPokemon if you want to get in on the conversation. This is the last round. We will be going to top 8, and one of these players will join us.
All right, taking a look at Aaron's prizes. Nothing super significant.
Yeah, it plays multiples of all those cards.
Double colorless can be tough if you don't have that much energy, but Not a big deal overall.
And then as for Benjamin, we see the Tapu Koko in the prizes. It could be a little rough because that's your free retreater you use to keep replenishing the first impression requirements.
And here we go. Benjamin starting us off here.
All right, Grass Energy on the Tapu Lele. What does his hand have? I think I see a Mallow. This is not what you want to do turn one.
Yeah, wow. This is actually a pretty slow start here from Benjamin. Just has to attach to the Tapu Lele. The interesting thing here is you can put... So he's taking a Sycamore, which I think is kind of what you're forced to do. You can take... So you see he's eyeing a Bridget too. So it looks like he's going to put the Bridget on top and then kind of play it next turn.
Well, if he does that, he loses the Sycamore, so...
Yeah, so sorry, I misspoke, sorry. Put the Sycamore on top and then play it the next turn so we can have Bridget on turn 3, but that's so much... I mean, you want Bridget on turn 1, right? That's so much slower than...
Yeah, exactly, and with Benjamin, he has those stage 1s in his deck, so not being able to get any of the basics out this turn, it's really going to put him on the back foot.
Yeah, that's just a horrible start. Benjamin wants to pass his first turn with multiple Wimpods and Zororas in play. He does not want to have to play a Mallow into a Sycamore and even then hope that he draws the right cards. This is just a horrendous start from him.
Meanwhile, Aaron with the turn 1 Wonder Tag from Tapu Lele, but he chooses to get the N. It's interesting. So he knows the top 2 cards of Benjamin's deck is important to him. He needs those cards. So might as well shuffle them away, right? But you have the other option where his hand's kind of bad right now.
Yeah, I think it's very likely that Aaron just wanted to end either way. And you do know that Benjamin's hand is bad, but you also know that he stacked 2 cards. So after he plays the Sycamore, which is I think what you assume he puts on top, he's going to have another play for the next turn. So I think ending here is fine. I don't think you should hold it because you're worried about that.
And with Benjamin's the Parallel City, it actually prevented the turn 1 Bridget play. So it's really the only option he kind of had. And there we see an energy drive onto the opposing Tapu Lele, 60 damage, and now Benjamin finds that Bridget.
All right, so this is actually a little better for him as long as he has another supporter to play next turn in his hand. He would have liked to have played Bridget on the first turn, but he'll take the 1 turn slower approach.
All right, I think that's 3 Zora on the bench.
Yeah, just loading up his bench with Zora.
Even a Wimpod from his hand, it's essentially a turn behind, but this is what you want to see with this deck.
Yeah, he is playing a turn behind, but like you said, his Parallel City did mess up his opponent's setup a bit too, so it's not the end of the world here.
Yeah, with this Zoroark Decidueye deck, you really want to set up a bunch of Zoroarks, a bunch of Decidueyes. That way you can actually take some of these one-hit knockouts with Feather Arrow.
And that's not going to happen unless he can remove the stadium. You're absolutely right. Having multiple Decidueyes up is very important to this deck.
Yeah, and right now, Ultra Ball getting the Tapu Lele, but he can't bench it right now. Oh, but he has the Field Blower.
Okay,
that is great.
The Field Blower. All right.
All right, now we see the Wonder Tag come down. He gets another N. So his hand's not looking too hot, kind of trying to refresh it a little bit.
Yeah, he's going to be wanting to find those evolutions for Rowlet and Zoroark. He's going to want to find another copy of either. I think you really want to start building up those Rowlets, or those Decidueyes rather. They just take so much longer to evolve and are important to your later game plan.
All right, fresh new hand of 6 for both players. I see a Decidueye, but I don't see a rare candy.
Yeah, it looks like some supporters, Decidueye, and a Field Blower.
It looks like he's going to be unable to evolve. Is that double Bridget in his hand?
Thank you.
Yeah, wow, this hand is not looking too hot for Aaron right now.
Just going to see an energy drive.
Meanwhile, on Benjamin's side, he has the first Zoroark-GX to hit the field. It's always a great advantage when you get the first one in play. You're starting to trade really early.
Yeah, and like Zoroark just unlocks so much. Just the ability to trade even if your hand isn't great or your board isn't great, usually if you can, you know, trade once or twice in a turn, you're going to be fine. And you see here, he trades away a Bridget that it's kind of redundant. He's not going to play it anyway. And now he's found a lot more options in his hand.
Yeah, his hand is double Puzzle time, and he has an Ultra Ball for another Zoroark-GX. Means he's going to spin the wheel again, discard another card he doesn't need, draw 2 more cards, and hopefully find some energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just this is kind of how you do it, right? This is the first Zoroark, just fuels all of this. Goodbye and hello, 2 new cards.
Unfortunately for him, it does not look like a double colorless. But he has another Ultra Ball. Could he go for another Zoroark?
Yeah, he's doing it. 3 trades.
So this is really what you want to see. Not having the energy right now, because it's kind of hurting a little bit, but your opponent's also stumbling. So having the 3 Zoroark in play is really intimidating to sit across from.
And now he actually has double Puzzle in hand, right? That's what you were saying?
Yes.
So it looks like he's going to actually play those, I'd imagine, just to have more options.
And I believe he hasn't played a supporter for the turn either, so this end could be huge. And the Parallel City again, so he's still limited. And with this deck, only having 1 Decidueye, 1 Zoroark in play, it's not what you want to be doing at all.
Yeah, so Benjamin started this turn with 0 Zoroarks in play. His Stadium was in the discard pile, and he didn't really have much going on, and now he's drawn through a significant portion of his deck. He still has another trade available, and he's drawing 6 new cards off of N.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
This Zoroark card seems pretty good.
Seems playable,
and
I'd say.
There's the Golisopod, and he did find a double colorless energy.
So there's a Golisopod, just another evolution. Here's a 3rd trade of the turn.
There we go, discarding the Tapu Lele. He did not find a Grass Energy, which might have been more beneficial, but the double colorless does come down on the Zoroark, and a Ritus beating 120 damage on this Tapu Lele GX.
Yeah, he definitely missed the Grass there. I think he would have preferred to start attacking with that Golisopod, but I don't think Benjamin really has room to complain. That turn went great for him. He's pretty well set up now.
So on Aaron's side of the field, he does get the Zoroark-GX down, and the first trade for him happens. And we do see Ultra Ball with a ton of rare candies in Aaron's hand. The Decidueye will be coming down, but he can't utilize all of them because there's only 1 Rowlet in play.
Yeah, so he actually just discards one of them. I think even after he rare candies, he can have another one in hand. And remember, he can't play any more Pokemon onto his bench because of that Parallel City. There's the rare candy. There's a Decidueye, and here's a Professor Sycamore.
So that means later on in the game, if he wants to get more Decidueyes in play, he'll have to manually evolve them through Dartrix, the stage 1. And that's going to be really slow to set up.
Let's see. Pair of Zoroarks in Aaron's hand.
That's not really wanting to see what you want to see with staring down Parallel City.
We see that Feather Arrow ability on Decidueye-GX, putting 2 damage counters on the bench Tapu Lele-GX, just kind of adding a little damage where he can.
All right, he chooses to retreat the Tapu Lele. Max Potion, getting rid of the 120 damage that Zoroark just did last turn. And I think we're going to see a Hollow Hunt GX.
Yeah, one of the many powers of a Decidueye-GX. Just going to go ahead and take any 3 cards from his discard pile that he would like and put them right into his hand. I was going to say, I have to imagine Field Blower is going to be one of them. Really needs to deal with this Parallel City. Currently doesn't have the Field Blower in hand.
Yeah, out of all the GX attacks, I think Decidueye is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, I think it's great. I mean, it just lets you play a little bit looser with your resources and kind of get them back in the mid-game, although it is a pretty early Hollow Hunt here.
Meanwhile, on Benjamin's side of the field, the 4th Zoroark comes down 3 trades later, and his hand is fully replenished and looking good.
The full playset Zoroark-GX's, full art Zoroark-GX's even on Benjamin's side.
Double colorless comes down on the Golisopod-GX.
Just preparing the Golisopod to have a Grass Energy attached to it next turn. Start doing some major damage. Needs this,
What's that?
Tapu Lele will still need 2 more activations of Feather Arrow to knock it out, so it's not in immediate danger.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing we have to kind of keep an eye on is since Benjamin played the Parallel City with the blue side facing Aaron, the red side for him will eventually limit his Golisopod's damage output later on in the game.
Yeah, Parallel City it does come at a cost. You can kind of choose which way you'd like to face it. So versus a lot of different decks, you know, if you're not playing fire, water, or grass types, it just is free to you. You know, it won't affect you at all, but it actually does have an impact on Benjamin here.
Yeah, and that N was perfect timing, especially after the Hollow Hunt GX from Aaron. That Field Blower gets shuffled back into the deck, and he is still limited to 3 bench Pokemon.
Trade.
And there's a trade discarding an Evo Soda that cannot be played right now. Max Potion, again, healing away the full attack from Benjamin, but at the cost of his only energy in play.
Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and play the N he has in his hand, it looks like. Reset things. That's another power of the several GX decks, actually. Decidueye's GX with Hollow Hunt GX, and then also Big Wheel GX from Drampa. Is that they're kind of cards that in a way read force your opponent to end you. Either it's kind of okay either way, especially the earlier you do it. Either okay, well I'm going to get these 3 cards back that I want, or you're going to end me and I'm going to get 6 cards anyway. So it's not that big of a deal. And it's your opponent's kind of forced to end.
Yeah, it's the same with Algorithm GX from Metagross.
Correct. Yeah. All right, there's that Feather Arrow activation on that Tapu Lele. Just 1 more Feather Arrow.
And then we have a pass. Again, no energy hitting the board for Aaron. Meanwhile, Benjamin still has his 4 Zoroark in play. And we see the first trade.
Getting rid of that Mewtwo. I haven't actually seen Mewtwo do a whole lot of work. There is a lot of Buzzwole out there, but just personally watching it and talking to players, I don't think it's been super useful. Very importantly, there's that Acerola returning the Tapu Lele GX to Benjamin's hand. So getting rid of all of that Feather Arrow damage and saving Benjamin 2 prizes.
Yeah, that's the one downfall for this Decidueye Zoroark deck is if you're trying to slowly knock out another Pokemon, they really can just play an Acerola and completely disrupt your entire plan like Benjamin did.
Yeah, and a lot of the metagame right now is very Acerola / Max Potion based. You know, Golisopod, we saw the Max Potions in Aaron's deck. Gardevoir, just there's a lot of healing going around.
And there we see another Ritus beating on the Decidueye-GX. And there's the Field Blower finally from Aaron, but all right, he can capitalize and play another Rowlet down. He really does need to get a lot more of his stage 2s up. Multiple Decidueye means you can do upwards to 60 damage a turn for free.
Yeah, the pressure that, you know, having Feather Arrows is fine. It's good. It made Benjamin make that Acerola play last game, but having 2 or even 3 of those, like when you can spread them out, especially when you can kind of play around Acerola or Max Potion in that way, and then set yourself up to where, okay, well I'm going to spread these out for a couple turns, and then I'm just going to do 40 or 60 to one of your guys, and your opponent just kind of can't play around that.
Exactly, especially with one of the tech cards in Aaron's deck as an Espeon EX to de-evolve all of the evolved Pokemon on Benjamin's side of the field. I really think that's his one hope in this match right now.
So we just see 1 Feather Arrow activation and a pass. That Decidueye-GX is stuck active.
Finally, a Grass comes down from Benjamin's side of the field. Golisopod is threatening a big hit on one of Aaron's Pokemon as well.
And yeah, that's a knockout. Benjamin is going to get rid of one of the Decidueye, again putting Aaron in a position where he has no Decidueyes on board and is going to have maximum 1 at the end of this turn. He does immediately drop another Rowlet, so he realizes, wants to prepare to get as many as possible out.
There we go. The trade from Aaron gets another Zoroark out. He really does want to find a rare candy, but remember, he discarded 3, and there's the 4th one.
All right.
Off the second trade.
So one Decidueye remains in play for Aaron here.
And finally, Aaron has something going for him. He will be able to mount this attack and deal quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, 150 after the Choice Band comes into effect, and then the Feather Arrows, of course, went on to the Golisopod-GX.
All right, now we have kind of a game going here, and that's the power of Zoroark and its trade ability. We've been saying it over and over again, but this card really lets you come back in a game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just like we said, just having even one Zoroark-GX just opens you up to so many possibilities. And then when you have multiples, as both players do here, it's very hard to miss anything, right? There's a lot of players. There's a lot of situations where I think you know, a lot of Pokemon players get too worried about their luck, or like, oh man, I just drew poorly. You know, I had 2 of these left in my deck and didn't draw any of them, which I think sometimes a little silly. I think sometimes, you know, confirmation bias and all that. But with Zoroark, when you're just drawing your entire deck, I think it's very hard to actually end up in a situation where you don't draw the cards you need.
Yeah, I think you could tell that from Benjamin's hand. He pretty much has everything he would want. And he chooses to Max Potion the active, probably setting up a Guzma play here. And there we go. Guzma on the Rowlet, bringing up the other Zoroark-GX. And now just all that damage Aaron did is gone. And he's really looking behind.
Yeah, I mean, Benjamin is recognizing it, takes another prize here, recognizing that the Decidueyes are really what pushes this deck over the top. If you can kind of look at the boards, right? And they're both playing Zoroark. They're both a Zoroark-based deck, but Aaron needs to set up not only a stage 2, but again, multiple of them. He really wants to have 2 or even more in play, whereas Benjamin is just sitting there saying, okay, I'm playing a Zoroark-based deck too, and look at my Golisopod. It's just been sitting here for turns.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to attack at some point, and it's just forcing you to. Well, I guess it's actually not going to attack now. It's getting knocked out. But
yeah, the Guzma from Aaron, paired along with the Choice Band, allows Ritus Beating to take the knockout on Golisopod-GX. Aaron is starting to take some prizes, starting to get his deck flowing a little bit more, but he's still staring down 4 Zoroark-GXs.
Man, like to my point too, just look at the win pod. It's already in play, right? Like Benjamin can just drop a Golisopod on it, and suddenly he has his kind of partner to Zoroark already.
Yeah, no need to rare candy that win pod.
Yeah. And all right, Benjamin taking the prize here, going down to an even number of prizes. Just one more EX or GX knockout here will seal the game for him.
Yeah, again, threatening a Golisopod attack, attaching the double colorless to the win pod. And there we see a Guzma bringing up the win pod again. For right now, Aaron is at 4 prizes, so it'll put him down to 3. He'll still need to take 2 GX knockouts, but he really is afraid of that Golisopod-GX.
Yeah, just keeping it off the board. There's it's important to, when similar to what Benjamin's been doing, when you can kind of target down the Pokemon that aren't fully set up yet, especially in the case of that Wimpod that it had the double colorless on it already. There's just there's more of a commitment there, right? You're getting rid of the basic Pokemon, which matters. You're cutting your opponent off of options, but you're also getting rid of more resources in the form of double colorless energy, which those are finite. I don't know how many Benjamins use, but
I just realized as Benjamin played the Tapu Lele 4-1 tag, he only has 3 cards left in his deck. He's been drawing so much with these 4 Zoroark-GXs that he's kind of in danger of decking out, and he's even choosing to trade now. 1 card left in deck.
Yeah, he has quite a big hand. I don't know how many ends he has left. He also has Puzzle of Time. Don't know how many of those he has in his hand, if any.
And
well, apparently the answer is 2.
Double puzzle. I believe this is the 3rd and 4th puzzle as well. So double colorless and a Guzma seem to be Benjamin's choices.
That's what it looks like. 1 card left in his deck. DCE on that Zoroark.
We do see that Enhanced Hammer in Benjamin's hand. That could swing this matchup very much. The Field Blower comes down, Enhanced Hammer. That Zoroark is now naked in the active spot. No energy, no tool attached to it. And Benjamin does get to play the end, so he is not in fear of decking out.
Yeah, he's setting up a play here where he can attack this Zoroark, and then as long as the damage stays there, he can draw, I think, his entire deck to find the Guzma next turn. With
Exactly,
trades
yes.
that will do the last bit of damage this Zoroark needs.
It'll be interesting to see if Aaron has access to any more max potions. It might disrupt his plans a little bit.
Oh yeah, that would be quite the disruption to what Benjamin's trying to do here.
He does have that Professor Sycamore in hand, drawing a brand new hand of 7. But again, Aaron's deck is getting pretty low too.
All right, let's see what he can put together.
I think I do see a max potion at the end of his hand.
Yeah, I think I do as well.
But unfortunately, it doesn't look like a double colorless energy at all.
Yeah, so unless I'm missing it, this is just going to kind of prevent this for one more turn.
And there's a special charge putting 2 back. Remember, he still has 1 in the prizes. So 3 left in the deck. He has 2 trades available to him. He really needs this double colorless.
Yeah, with 2 trades. I didn't quite see how many cards are in his deck, but he should be able to hit it here.
Missed on the first one.
Draws
Trade
another
number
max
2.
All right, trade number 2.
There we go.
There we go.
All right, max potion. Huge swing moment right here. Taking away the game-winning play from Benjamin next turn.
Feather Arrow, the Venusaur.
He does find that double
And
colorless,
right
as we
hitting
said. There's a Feather Arrow, and here's an attack for 100.
All right, Red is dealing 100 damage, setting up a possible KO next turn with Feather Arrow.
He even has, Aaron even has another max potion in his hand if Benjamin wants to go for this play again.
Although I'm interested to see how many ends Aaron has left, because he could try to be fishing for that double colorless with a trade and then end up decking out.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not quite sure how many cards are left.
All right, there is an Acerola and a brand new Zoroark-GX coming out. Choice band, double colorless. It'll be 130 damage on the Zoroark. But Aaron did draw the double colorless.
He just finds a double colorless. Doesn't even need to worry about trading for it.
But again, he's still 1 or 2 cards left in his deck. Can he take these 3 prizes before something happens?
Feather Arrow, the Venusaur.
There's a Feather Arrow onto the bench. Another
you know what?
100.
Is Espeon still in his deck?
No, he discarded Espeon early
Oh.
with a Ultra Ball, I believe. Yeah, there it is in the bottom of the discard pile.
I was about to say that could be some pretty sweet end of game play right now.
I don't know about a rescue stretcher or anything like that. Super odd.
There's the Tapu Lele getting Acerola again. I think we might see Aaron decking out here, unless Benjamin just takes the game next turn with Guzma.
I think he just has the single card left, and I don't think he has a supporter in his hand right now. So I think if he can't win the game this turn, Benjamin can just pass, and Aaron will lose when he goes to draw a card with nothing in. Yeah, he just draws a... And that's it, yeah.
There it is. Wow. So Benjamin had game next turn with Guzma, no matter what. But winning by deck out, I always like to do that.
Yeah. I mean, that does show you some of the risk of Zoroark just going through your deck so quickly that if the game ends up going a little bit too long, like in that game, the last couple of turns were just max potion, Acerola, max potion, Acerola, and kind of like if that hadn't happened, the game would have ended. So it would have been fine, but because Aaron was forced to draw something like 3 or 4 extra cards, it was just too much, and he just didn't have any more resources.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, but for Benjamin, so far traveling all the way from Norway, he is 1 win away from top 8ing the largest regionals in Pokemon TCG history.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a huge accomplishment for anyone. I think that, again, this is what you come to the tournaments for. You come to make the top 8. You come to win, right? Everyone wants to win, but I think the real accomplishment level is the top 8, right? It's kind of how we measure things. Like, this so-and-so has 3 regionals top 8s this season. They have 10 in the last 3 seasons. It's kind of how you think about it. And obviously, win or lose, you're doing well. They're going very deep in this tournament, top 16, probably, you know, they're winning some money, winning some points, but you don't come to have a good record, right? You don't come, no Pokemon player in the world would just decide to always get 12th place, right? You just wouldn't take that deal. If Genie just came to you and asked, okay, you get 12th place every tournament. No, of course not, because you want to win, right? You don't want to just have a good record. You don't want to have a good finish. You want to top 8. You want to have a shot at winning. You want to become the champion.
Exactly, and that's what these players are trying to do here. Game 2 of round 15. Let's take a look here at Aaron's prizes. All right, there is the field blower in there. That was pretty important with Parallel City coming from Benjamin.
Yeah, removing Parallel City is a big game here. I think Aaron plays 3 field blower, so hopefully 1 being prized won't be too big of a deal.
Max Potion and a Sorola prized for Benjamin there.
Yeah, 2 Ultra Balls, nothing huge, and we are off. Aaron needing to win 2 games here to advance to the top 8.
All right, and this is what you want to see, that turn 1 Bridget. No need to Wonder Tag for it. You just draw it naturally.
Yep, that's what 3 copies will do for you. Rowlet, Zora. Let's see what else Aaron has in his hand. Another copy of Rowlet in the past. That's great. That's basically all you really want on your first turn.
Exactly,
these,
but
setup decks.
Benjamin has that Parallel City, meaning
right.
you really just take out one of your opponent's main Pokemon right now.
Yeah, Parallel City on the first turn like that is huge. And now we saw a lot of the early game in game 1 being about Aaron being able to remove that Parallel City, so coming down so immediately. Also important to note that it's also cutting off Aaron's Tapu Lele plays. He can't just drop a Lele for a supporter, which gives him what, two or three less shots at a supporter after this ends. So we'll see what he can put together here.
Yeah, exactly. And from talking with some of the players, I was surprised there wasn't more Parallel City in a lot of these decks. And a lot of the decks that play it were Zoroark decks. The idea was kind of, well, if I get Parallel City and play first, they can't play theirs against me.
Right.
And there's the N. We see Ultra Ball. Unfortunately, Benjamin has Bridget in hand, but he already played a supporter for the turn, discarding that Mewtwo, which has not really been effective this tournament that well.
Yeah, Mewtwo, I think, has been a pretty big disappointment, but when you need it, it can come in clutch.
Wow, looking at Aaron's hand, it is 3 Decidueye and some useless cards.
Wow, so this might be another rough
N
game.
Has been really bad for him. All right, Benjamin gets Azora with the Ultra Ball. Definitely wanting a basic for his stage 1s compared to last game where he had nothing. But Rare Candy off the top. All right, he has the Decidueye in play, but he's going to have to Feather Arrow and pass this turn.
Yeah, Feather Arrow onto the Zoroark and just pass the turn back. No plays to be made. Ball is back in Benjamin's court. There is a Zoroark GX.
There we go. The best card in Standard, at least this weekend. And Benjamin will be able to start trading. Discarding that Golisopod. There's no Wimpod in play. You don't need it.
Yeah, Zoroark GX is definitely the most impactful card in Standard and even Expanded. And I didn't think I'd be saying that with Gardevoir-GX legal. You know, if you told me 2 months ago that something would outclass Gardevoir, I just wouldn't have believed you.
You probably wouldn't believe me like the day before the
well,
tournament either.
I would particularly never believe you.
Yeah.
But I mean, someone I respected.
All right, Bridget comes down to Zora and a Wimpod on the field. Benjamin's now pretty much set up, but he doesn't have another energy to start attacking with the Tapu Lele. But fortunately for him, Aaron drew a double colorless, and that is it. He will be able to put some pressure with Choice Band on the opposing Tapu Lele and another Feather Arrow, but this is all he really has. All right, another Zora comes down, another one. This is what Benjamin's deck does. Get multiple Zoroark in play, then I control my entire deck essentially.
Doesn't quite have the whole play set yet, but access to 3 trades is pretty powerful.
All right, Sycamore getting him a brand new hand. Enhanced Hammer coming
Right.
down, getting rid of the double colorless energy. Aaron's back to starting point. Nothing really to do.
Yeah, not a whole lot going on.
There's a Field Blower
for
getting
good
rid of
measure.
Choice Band.
First trade, I believe.
First or second. You kind
Yeah,
of lose count.
he may
when
have
you
used one already, yeah.
He's been kind of pointing in a row, so that's how I've been going.
Makes sense. All right, second trade.
All right, there is the retreat, and we will get a Riotous beating from Zoroark-GX. As of right now, it's dealing 100 damage. And there we go, 100 damage on the Tapu Lele.
Right, top deck is...
Guzma, that's
Guzma.
still not really what you need.
Yeah, it does save this Lele, but it doesn't actually really progress things.
Well, you save the Lele at a cost of a Zorua? I don't know if that's really worth it.
Feather or the Tapu
Assuming that Benjamin can get this Wimpod out of the way.
And pass.
And yeah, Aaron has yet to attack in this game. He's just throwing out those feather arrows when he can.
Yeah, normally Wimpod with that Wimp Out ability, it gives itself free retreat, but only on the first turn of the game. So it was a pretty good target, but Evo Soda coming down, getting Golisopod-GX. Now, to be fair, it's still only doing 30 damage with a grass energy. Definitely not what you want to be seeing when you're Benjamin, but he's still so far set up compared to Aaron right now that he has to be sitting pretty.
Yeah, and you've got some more trades too, so you can always get a lot more cards to see through this turn.
And it looks like he is eyeing a couple Guzmas in his discard. That can only mean one thing. Double Puzzle of Time in his hand.
Yep, double Puzzle gets back, double Guzma.
Who needs Versus Seeker when you have Puzzle of Time?
And this just keeps getting worse for Aaron. He's had, what, three turns, I think? Maybe 4 of just top decking nothing.
And here he still wants to knock out a Zorua, but you're not able to with the Golisopod active. So Guzma is really just acting like a switch here.
Yeah, just putting that Zoroark in the active position. There is something to be said for knocking out the Tapu Lele, but when your opponent's so far behind like this, you're fine just trying to kind of hinder their setup.
Yeah, well, if you actually think about some of the cards that actually help Aaron get back in this game, Zoroark-GX is one of them. And there is another draw pass.
There's also something to be said for Rescue Stretcher getting back Tapu Lele if you knock it out, which Aaron does have.
That is true.
Yep,
And
so
there's another Guzma. We'll probably see an Armor Press taking a knockout on the Zorua. And Benjamin's looking to take this game straight away with him.
yeah, just no more Zoruas on the bench for Aaron. 4 prizes left for Benjamin.
And he finally drew the Zoroark-GX after all of his Zoruas have been knocked out.
Feather Arrow, and another pass.
He chose not even to Rescue Stretcher a Zorua, seeing as he'd rather Rescue Stretcher this Tapu Lele. And there we go. Same play as last game. Acerola on the Tapu Lele as it's about to be knocked out, denying those free prizes that Aaron was going to get with Feather Arrow.
Yeah, this is just a beating. I mean,
A riotous beating.
yes, in fact. Aaron's having such a hard time here. He will be able to get back to Tapu Lele with the Rescue Stretcher in his hand.
But at what point is it too late?
Yeah, I think it just already might be too late. We're at the point where Benjamin, after he takes this knockout, will need to knock out one more GX Pokemon. And I just don't think that Aaron can crawl back here unless something miraculous happens. And now he top decks an N.
Like, where were you a few turns ago?
Well, this will allow him to shuffle back instead of having to play the Tapu Lele with Rescue Stretcher. That's actually a good draw. He gets those Zoruas back, can kind of set himself up to, if he's going to win the game here, he's going to need Zoroarks, right? this is something that you'll see at the highest level of competition, which is Aaron knows that he has a very small chance of winning the game, but it's not 0. And you really need to make sure that even if it's a 10% chance and you can do something to make it a 10.5% chance, that you're doing that. You need to make sure that you're playing to your outs, you have all the small edges, and you know, you can't just give up when you're losing, right? People have come back from worse board states than this. I've seen it happen. And so Aaron's trying to do every little thing he can.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. I was just about to say, always play to your outs, especially when if losing the game means you're completely done. So there we see, off the end, he didn't really get anything else. And usually N against an opponent that has 2 prizes is good, but when you have 3 Zoroark in play, it does not matter.
And there is the trade. And now Aaron's getting into the even more awkward position where, you know, we were just talking about if he wins the game, it's going to be with Zoroark in play. But now Benjamin can just take any knockout on anything. So if Aaron plays a Zoroark, roll it down, another Guzma knockout, that's the entire game.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The match.
Aaron's only hope is Benjamin not getting a bunch of DCEs. Maybe Aaron rolls a bunch of max potions together.
Yeah, that's true. He still has outs here, but I just gotta believe it's realistically too late for him.
And again, Benjamin with that 1 card in hand, it will turn into many more.
Yeah, here's an Ultra Ball. Unfortunate turn of events, and yeah, he just has to play the Zoro. I mean, he knows as well as we do that if it gets knocked out, it's game over, but he has to try.
And there we go. Feather Arrow and a pass from Aaron. Does Benjamin have what it takes to knock
the full play set's on?
All right, he had to get it this game too. It's fine. All right, first trade, second trade. All he needs is the Guzma. There's a puzzle time. Do we trade number 3? We do.
Trade.
We don't see the Guzma either. Trade number 4. Here we go.
All right, so no Guzma.
Survives for another turn.
So he will be, Aaron will have another turn in which he will get to evolve his Zoroark to a Zoroark-GX and start doing some trading of his own.
And looking at Benjamin's hand right now, he has that Mallow supporter card. It's paired really well with Zoroark and its trade ability. So next turn, he will have that Guzma.
Here's the Mallow. Looks like Max Potion. He also, and Puzzle of Time are going on top. He does have the Guzma. Yeah, so actually Puzzle of Time and Guzma on top of the deck.
That's pretty 2 good cards, especially with the other Puzzle of Time in Benjamin's hand. It's only a matter of time until he takes this last prize. Riotous Beating for 100 damage on the Decidueye. And finally, Aaron gets a Zoroark-GX in play.
The old turn 10 Zoroark-GX.
It's pretty good, pretty good. There is the Max Potion. He will be able to stall this out a little bit longer. Double colors on the Zoroark on the bench and a Sycamore for a brand new hand. And you got to remember one thing. Zoroark's attack only does damage when you have a bigger bench. And the more stuff he plays, the more he is at risk of getting knocked out.
Yeah, and if you're Aaron here, you just kind of have to, I think, accept that you can't play a Zora onto your bench. You know that your opponent can just get a Guzma. They literally stack their deck with Mallow last turn. You just have to accept you're doing 70 here.
And there we go. Just as you said, he does not choose to bench the extra Pokemon. Riotous Beating for 70 damage thanks to Choice Band.
And now we're kind of in we're seeing a similar endgame state that we were seeing last game with just max potions and Acerolas flying around, just for turning 2 shots into 4 shots. I think just kind of preventing the inevitable here for Aaron, but extending things by a few turns, but you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta try to stay in the game. Important to note that the time is winding down too, so if Aaron were to actually pull this game by some miracle, I don't think they would have time to finish a game 3. So Aaron's just not in a great spot no matter what way you think about it.
Yeah, and you were saying by any miracle. Usually that miracle is N, but with all these Zoroarks, I don't think a miracle's coming. And yeah, there you remember, Golisopod's damage is reduced by that Parallel City.
There's Aaron's trade.
All right, we do see a Guzma in his hand. He's kind of eyeing down one of the cards on Memphis side of the field. Zoroark hoping, all right, maybe he doesn't have double colorless. This could be stuck active for a few turns.
No, I think that's just going to be it, though. I think Benjamin should still have the Guzma play.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
To him. I assume that if Aaron had a healing card, he would have played it. I didn't quite see. Yeah, he's going to show him double puzzle. That gets a Guzma. That's going to bring the Zoroark active for the knockout. Benjamin will take his last prize, win the game and the match, and advance to the top 8 here in Memphis.
Coming all the way from Norway. Now he is sitting in a good position to make top 8 at 34 match points. And what a weekend this has been.
Yeah, that was a kind of an unfortunate match to end the Swiss rounds with, as it was pretty one-sided. But I think it did display, maybe better than any other match we've seen this weekend, just how powerful and how absurd Zoroark-GX is.